Hey all, very good evening. First of all, thank you very much for joining this particular session, whether you are watching it live or you are watching this video after the live session has been completed. In any of the terms, a very happy greetings from Edugram. Okay. Thank you very much for joining this particular session. To be very precise, guys, I would like to welcome you on the very first episode of our podcast series that we are starting it. When I say we are starting it, EduRamp is starting it. The name of the podcast series is Dialogue, new podcast series which we are starting it, and we are making it sure that things are with respect to technical aspects and other areas. Okay, we are making it clear that this entire podcast series of Dialogue, which we are getting it done. Okay, the series will be an insightful conversation with industry experts about the latest trends, innovations in the technologies which are there. I'm Viral Gutti, your host, and thrilled to take it ahead and get the things done. I'm going to start this, you know, series of podcast called as Dialogue with the first episode, which is a very exciting topic. Topic is FinOps. FinOps, as a topic, it is a buzzword in the market right now. Okay, people who are working in cloud, people who are working in different areas, it is a very buzzword kind of stuff which is there in the market. I would like to say that when we talk about FinOps, there are a lot of aspects which come in our mind that how finance came into it. What are the things which are there? There are a lot of questions which can come in our mind. Okay, now to get answers to these questions, to get answers to all these questions, so I would like to bring in our guest over here, Mr. Vaibhav Sharma. I would like to introduce our guest. Vaibhav comes with more than 1.5 decade of experience in this industry. He has been into multiple domains. He has worked with multiple domains. He has worked in multiple areas. It's not specific to operations part of it. It is not specific to DevOps part of it. I would like to tell you that he has worked in different sectors, different areas where it comes to project management, incident management, problem management, service management, SLAs, multiple things that he has gone through, network systems, system engineering, multiple things that he has gone through. And today he's at a stage where he has got a very good insight with respect to this topic called as FinOps. FinOps as a topic, he has got great insights. Trevor, once again, welcome to Dialogue.
Thank you. Thank you, Bilal. So thank you. And indeed, it's a buzzword that you are hearing these days in the market since the entire economics of the managing the finance of for a company or the organization has been changed. Now people are moving from the traditional IT to the domain of the cloud, right? So since it's a cloud, it's a OpenX or OPEX, I could say, right? Open expenditure it is, or operational expenditure, I could say it is. So there is a lot of change that people are seeing, and there are indeed some challenges also they are facing in order to manage their financials around those cloud financials, I could say.
Every service is being costing. Okay,
Correct.
every service is going to be billed. So nothing is free. Now that's something which is very clear to all of us that nothing is going to be coming
Nothing.
free to us. Okay, there is someone who has built the entire infrastructure and managing the entire show. So obviously it is going to be charged. In fact, I would like to know it from you, Above. Can you start by explaining, what FinOps is and why it is becoming such a crucial aspect in IT and cloud management? Please help me with that.
Right. So having said that, Bilal, what happens in the market these days? People are moving to cloud, right? And as I already spoken about, there is a different economics that you have to work on. And by the way, FinOps is not something that is new to the market. It is something which we already doing it in a bits in a pieces. It's just that we are not organized, or we are not following any chronological, I would say the steps or the approach to handle our financials, right? So basically, being a lala kind of a approach that we will going to be taking in terms of managing our accounts with our mind, right? However, when it comes to the cloud, since everything is moving towards the OPEX model, so it is very important to drive all of your financials, all of your decisions, whether it is operational, whether it is any kind of a decision that you are making. It requires some sort of a data insights to control, to have that control on the data is very important for the FinOps. So having said that, FinOps is a cultural change wherein you are bringing multiple teams all together. I mean, what we used to do in the traditional approaches of managing our IT, we used to have a approval process in place wherein we used to reach out to our purchase, we used to reach out to our financials or finance team to to get some approvals from them. But now what things got changed in moving to cloud. Now the entire power has been moved to the developers hands. So that's something which is in the FinOps. It's more proactive to control, right, and have that synergy in between the multiple teams so that they can connect, or they are aligned with the organization goals itself. Whether the investment that I'm making, is it I'm getting the right return over the investment or not. So that's something which will be helpful for the organization, or that's something which will be required by anyone from the organization standpoint, wherein they need some concrete data, right? So once you have the concrete data, you will have the full visibility. Once you have the full visibility, you will be able to track and optimize the workload, right? So there is another perception or misperception, I could say, in the market, that people might be having in their mind, that FinOps is all about optimization, but it is not.
What are some common challenges that you have encountered in implementing FinOps practice, and how have you overcome those challenges?
So there were a lot of challenges that I have encountered during my initial days. And the one of the major challenge that I see, or I would say the people will gonna also gonna be having in their own practices, will be understanding their personas, understanding their audiences, right? So when I say audiences, which means the different stakeholders that you're going to be
Yeah,
communicating. So every stakeholders, as I said, if you remember the example
and it
that I
is
spoken about,
right. It is very diverse. People, many people are there from different areas. They are
different
coming
areas.
in.
And you need to understand what kind of information will be exciting for that specific stakeholder, right? So
Exactly. Yeah.
providing the right sizing opportunity, providing the optimization opportunities to a finance team members might not be right things to do, right? So having said that, but at the
Exactly.
same time,
Exactly.
where the actual cost is going, how the cost allocation is happening, how you will be able to splitting the shared cost that you have in the environment, that's something that they will going to be interested to know more about. They will be interested to
Definitely
how
yes.
much the budget adherence that the team is having in the environment, right? They will be more interested to know more about how you will be able to precisely forecast your cloud spend for the coming a quarter, month, or maybe for the entire year, right? So that's
Definitely.
something which is very
Definitely.
very important, and that's also at the same time one of the biggest challenge as a practitioner you will going to be having in your experiences, or if you are building your practices in the FinOps domain, that you're going to face, right? So understanding the goals of the different KPIs, which means the different stakeholders, and mapping the or providing the relevant information to them is something which will be a challenge for you. First you have to work on the visibility, right? And that's something which will gonna bring some challenge. And at the same time, as soon as you start mapping the cost with the specific stakeholders, specific departments, BUs, project, you will be able to I would say find your ways out of this challenge.
Experience now. Okay, you have implemented, you have been into it, you have mentored people, a lot of things, right? I'd like to ask you something. What strategies would you recommend? What recommendations would you like to give to those companies who are just starting to implement FinOps?
Right. So I will be very honest with you, Bilal, on this question, because this question may have different answers. There is also one more thing that we need to understand, is that the cost allocation, however we are doing it correctly for the organization, but at the same time there might be different goal for the organization. You might have that much of diversity. However, the consumption of your could be 100K, right? But
Hmm,
the
hmm.
diversity that you may have, it basically brings that challenge in the organization wherein you are not able to map the cost to the team. However, at the same time, you might have a simplicity in the organization or the environment. You may have single subscription running in the environment, but you have 1 million of monthly consumption, right?
Hmm.
So in that scenario, you might have a different approach, or you might be needing a different approach wherein you are not bothered about mapping the cost to the specific team, because it is straightforward. But at the same time, you might be more interested towards the optimization of your workload.
You were aligning goals to different things,
Correct.
optimization to different things, aligning optimization to the organization goal, and then achieving the
The
things,
achieving the
because
goals.
every organization might think in different ways. Since you have
Correct.
been experienced into this thing, you might have worked with multiple organization, and every organization would have came with a different thought process. Some would have
Correct.
came and said that can we reduce the cost. Some would have came and said that it's not about reducing the cost, it's making
Yes.
sure that the things are available to my customer.
Correct. It is making sure that whether the cost which is coming in my environment or in to my organization, whether it is mapped to the right team or not.
that particular example. Thank you very much, Vaibhav, for that. Vaibhav, uh, you have rightly said that every organization's goal can be different and the approach can be different. Are there some tools that you use it for this particular activity in FinOps?
So there are multiple tools that I have used in my personal
Okay.
experience. However, the best tool that you can find is being provided by the OEMs themselves, right? But there are
Uh,
multiple tools which are available in the market and which
Correct.
gives some value up, more than what we have on the OEMs. There are some different deviation that you can play around with those tools in terms of setting up those deviation for the optimization. So it gives you more optimization opportunities. It identifies more optimization opportunities and can help you to understand or to capture more opportunities out of your environment comparing to the native tools, right? So yeah, so it is as good as you are make yourself familiar with the native tool. And yes, there are multiple tools from multiple vendors, like you have cloud checker from Spot, you have uh, from NetApp, sorry, right? You have Spot by NetApp, you have the Cloud Health, you have Flexera, you have many, right? Cloud Ability is there, which is the known tool available in the market, so you can use that as well. And different types of customization you can perform it in some of the tools as well. That's something which can help you to achieve your goals.
Vaibhav, industry application, if I look at applying it and getting it done, you have gone through the entire cycle. Okay. Can you just help me out? Can you just help me out to, tell me one example or give me one example of a successful implementation of FinOps?
So successful implementation is, I mean, this is something which will going to take a lot of time, right? So we
Mhm.
talks about the different maturity level, and
Mhm.
successful FinOps is not something that you can uh, achieve in a year or in a 6 month of time. So
Mhm.
gradually the entire getting that understanding about the organization will may take somewhere around 6 months of time, to be honest with you, in my experience. Or sometime it takes 1.5 month, or could be 1 month of time. So depending upon the diversity that you may have within the organization, it depends how effectively you will be able to have your maturity level up. So in the FinOps domain, we uses three terminologies: crawl, walk, and run. So crawl is somewhere you are at a beginner level, right? Walk is somewhere you are at an intermediate level, and the run state is somewhere you are at a advanced level. So it is not something that you should try to achieve the run state, right? In the beginning itself, start with the crawling,
Mhm.
right?
Right.
When you have people, or when you have a child, doesn't start running right after its
Exactly.
or his
Exactly.
birth, right? So it
That's
there
how
is a,
nature works. Yeah.
yeah, that's how the nature works, and that's how the entire practice and the processes also should be followed. When start with the small steps, right, wherein you get acquainted with the different organizational level of the understanding that you might be needing from the organization, whether what kind of a the goal the organization will going to be having. Then you have that preparation done, then you socialize yourself, and then you do the planning around your FinOps. And it will gonna take time, right? I'm not gonna say may take time, it will gonna take time. The reason it is because you have to understand the different stakeholders. Ideally, I could say the initial onboarding itself will gonna take almost around 8 weeks of time to get that understanding about the environment, and how the next approach that you need to take in terms of bringing the practices in the organization. So
Right, right, right. So it is all about like how big the project and how
correct.
bigger things are there. So it will take that much of time. Obviously, it is a cycle. It will
It's
churn
a
and
continuous
then
cycle.
finally the result will
Yeah.
come in. So are there some things coming up in the market where there is a continuous monitoring which is happening for these things, and it is giving me, because AI is catching up a lot, right? Artificial
Right.
intelligence is catching up a lot. I'm pretty much sure that AI would also be coming in, okay, into this particular area where it can capture some things and give us a proactive thing so that we can do the necessary actions to it.
Right. So indeed, I mean, in fact, some of the people who are familiar with Azure portal, they might have seen that there are some AI recommendations coming up on the portal itself
Right,
in
right,
terms of
right.
identifying
Yes.
the right sizing and the reservation opportunities that you may have. right?
Right.
Or how effectively you can identify the anomalies which may be there from the cost standpoint in the
Mm-hmm.
environment. That also something which people are able to identify with the help of these AI tools, which are there now being integrated within the portal itself. But
Mm-hmm.
at the same time, there are some manual work which is still required from my
Mm-hmm.
standpoint, like how that mapping has to be done, like, because this is something which AI will not be able to understand unless he doesn't, or he might haven't
Yeah,
met those
in fact,
different stakeholders, right?
whatever AI is going to recommend you, it is from the inputs that you have provided
Correct,
in time, right? So it
correct,
is based on that only it is going to come up. And
correct.
Microsoft being such a huge platform, they can gather and build their large language model very easily.
Absolutely
Okay, because they have got so many things available to them, right?
correct,
So it would
correct,
be soon there, right?
correct. So basically, we have three different phases in the FinOps itself: inform,
Hmm.
optimize, and operate. So as
Okay.
far as this generative AIs or the AI services or artificial intelligence are concerned, that's something which
Hmm.
could be good fit in the optimize and the operate, wherein you have certain data sets which will
Hmm.
gonna train your model, right, and will
Okay.
bring that value. But at the same time, to get that training done or get that data available in the inform phase, you have to map that data further.
Tags and everything is like feeding the things to
Correct.
the
To the model,
model. Yes, 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 it is
right?
feeding the things to the model so that the model can respond
Right. So
based on
anyway,
these things.
required a FinOps practitioner to run this entire exercise more effectively or precisely, so that the model get trained with the precise data.
So how's the future looking at? How
So
the
future,
future of FinOps looks like?
I would say the future is bright for the FinOps. The reason it is because, as you understand, that when the cloud started back in 2010, the ticket size of that cloud was 1 or 2 lakh rupees of monthly consumption. Now it is reaching to almost around 1 million or 5 million of monthly consumption.
Yeah,
And
right, right, right.
since, having said that, new technologies and the past services being offered by these different cloud providers, the consumption will gonna grow.
Definitely, as you rightly said, that it is having a very bright future. Okay, because things are evolving. As you also know, Vaibhav, today cloud has become a norm in every organization. It has become a norm in every organization that yeah, everyone is using it. People are getting into multi-cloud scenario. People are getting into scenarios where smaller cloud players are also coming in. I've seen some of the organizations where small cloud players are coming in, which are not as big as Amazon, AWS, or as big as Azure. They are smaller players who are providing platform as a service, or they are smaller players who are providing infrastructure itself. Okay, I'll not be naming them right now over here, but there are smaller service providers also which are coming. Will FinOps play a role in those areas also, which are not very huge players in the market?
Yes. So basically, see, when we talk about FinOps, as soon as you have the OPEX model,
Hmm.
right, in any form, right, whether you can also include your mobile bills as well in the FinOps
Exactly, exactly,
scope,
exactly.
as
The same
since
is.
it's a OPEX model, right, and there are possibilities to optimize it and to track where the actual cost is going, right.
Hmm, hmm,
So as soon as you have the OPEX model, it is there, right. The FinOps is there to be tracked, or for tracking those costs, where actually it is moving towards from the owner's standpoint, where the actual investment is going, where,
hmm,
or whether the investment that the organization is making is meaningful or not, whether the organization has to tighten the belt of the investment or losing the belt to that specific project. So basically, to understand that unit economics, the FinOps is the thing that will going to play a vital role and will bring some value for the organization.
what skills are essentials for a professional to look specifically when it comes to FinOps? Can you help the audience to find the learning path?
Right. So learning path for a FinOps or a good FinOps practitioner would be a mindset of having some sort of analytics in your mind, right? I mean, this is something which you have to uh, build as a skills in yourself, wherein you should be good in the analysis. As far as the technical knowledge are concerned, that's something wherein it is good to know the fundamentals of the cloud. The more analytical, the more, I would say, uh, the uh, the different level of the possibility that you can think about from the scrubbing of your data. that's something which will going to bring value for you, not only for you but also for the organization as well, because you will be able to see, or you will be able to focus on the 360-degree of the requirement that you may come up from the different stakeholders. So you have to be have that entrepreneur approach within your mindset. Let's think about, you are running your own shop, right? What are the different information that you'll be going to be needing it from anyone that basically managing your entire accounts and your cloud consumption? So that is very very important to understand from that mindset. So entrepreneur mindset is also something which you have to come up with, so that you can understand the different personas and the different stakeholders mindsets, right?
That's making it very interesting, so that entrepreneurial mindset is something which is required, because that is where people start thinking of, self, that this is mine. I
This
have
is
to
mine.
take care of it. I have to
Correct.
make sure that things are being optimized in a right way. Okay, and that the feeling of yours,
Correct.
okay, and working for that particular area, I truly relate with the things. I truly feel that, technical, non-technical, okay, entrepreneurial skills and multiple other areas are combined together when we talk about FinOps.
Correct.
Okay, we cannot consider FinOps as a technical training or
Correct.
as a training which is related to the finance aspects. There are a lot of things which are supposed to be taken
It is
care
for
when we talk.
everyone. It is for everyone.
It is for everyone. Definitely, it is
It is
for
for
everyone.
everyone.
Great. I would like to, take some key takeaways. Can you share some three key takeaways, or if you have more, I'll definitely appreciate. Okay.
So takeaways would be, I mean, the first point that I already just spoken about, the entrepreneurship mindset that you have to
Yeah.
bring up,
Sure.
right? Know your stakeholders, right? So that you can think about, how effectively the goals that they may be carrying with them, right? And what are the different KPIs that they will be having, and how effectively that you can gonna be providing or helping those different stakeholders to achieve those KPIs and the goals, right? And
Right.
third is how effectively you will be able to map your cloud spending, which will gonna bring as a result the optimization for your organization, right? And that will gonna bring some value to the organization in the form of some savings, in the form of some margins that they will gonna be able to save. And apart from that, there is one more key takeaway that I want you guys to take out of this discussion would be to, I mean, however, this is something which might not be exciting for the engineering team, but as an engineering team they also have to take cost as another metric they have to drive in the organization, right?
It has to
As a
be. It
roles
has
and,
to be.
yeah, as a roles and responsibility, because they might be excited with the new technology coming up in the market, with the bug fixes that they are doing in the day-to-day activities, with the different technology training that they might be taking. But at the same time, how that cost will going to be driven by that changes that they're going to be making, they have to align with the business team, right? it
Exactly.
I mean, that's where you have to understand that if in case any change that you're making in the technology, it may impact the cost of the end product which is there in the market.
These are very much key areas, Vaibhav, what you have mentioned, because people look at, especially techies. Okay, we are also techies. We have been in technology and multiple other stuff, but especially techies, they are not. They don't come, or they don't get involved into the part of cost and all. And FinOps is something where actually the cost part is going to come up, and they have to, gear up for these things that are supposed to be done. I would like to have a final piece of advice. Would you give to organizations and professionals who are just beginning with their FinOps journey? A final piece of advice to, close up with the things.
So the final advice, as an advice, I can tell you that you have to test your skills at your fullest, right?
Hmm.
And have that openness in your mind, because FinOps is itself evolving practice. It's not something that have already been developed and people are following. It's something that people are sharing their experiences, right? And they are still developing the different practices which might have worked for them. So basically the practice that might have worked for me might may not work for you, or at the same time vice versa as well. So it is very very important to have that openness, and having that openness for a discussion as well, so that that discussion will not gonna fall into a fight. So having said that, it is very very important to bring some openness and have a key discussion with this with the community members, who are there in the community, and you can have a discussion with them. You can just learn about how the best practices have worked for them, what practices have worked for them, whether the practice that they have followed will going to be applicable for you or not, right? So having that openness is something which is very very important to have. And collaboration, reporting, KPI, goal, that's something which going to come later on.
I thank all the audiences. Thank Weber a lot, okay, for being a part of this particular event, for taking time to share this much of knowledge with us, okay, giving us an understanding, okay, the things, how the things are working and what are the things which are supposed to be taken care. Very thankful. I would like the audience, to definitely share their views when they are watching this podcast, okay, looking at the things, how the things are, where the things are, okay, and we would definitely respect your feedback with respect to these sessions what we are having. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Weber signing off to all the audience, okay. We are
Thanks
disconnecting this
everyone.
one. Thank you.